It is the early 1900s. America is booming. World War I has broken out. We, America, chose to stay neutral, though we did show a bias for the Allies. World War I is at a stalemate. Neither Allies nor Central Powers are gaining anything. The only thing gaining is the death toll. The Lusitania. The key reason for America to enter World War I, eventually causing the Allies to come out on top. On May 7th, 1915, on the Celtic Sea, the amazing Lusitania was sunk by German U-boats due to the ship's entrance to an area where there was submarine warfare. During the tragic event, 128 American citizens were killed. In response to the sinking, America was extremely angered. 2 years later, America joined the war with the Lusitania as a guiding reason. We steered the Allies towards victory, drastically changing the way that World War I ended. The construction of the Lusitania began in 1904. It was the largest ship in the world at the time. It was 787 feet in length and weighed 31,550 tons. That's a little bit more than 63 million pounds. The ship was designed by Leonard Pesquet, and it was owned by Cunard Line. The ship was made and used for passenger trade through the Atlantic Ocean. The Lusitania was first launched on June 6, 1906. From there, it would grow famous and continue to helm through the Atlantic Ocean. It was May, the year 1915, 11 years since the Lusitania was first set out to sea. There were 1,959 people aboard the ship, including the crew. Due to the many U-boats lurking in the ocean, the British Admiralty warned the Lusitania to zigzag or just avoid the area. Unfortunately, the captain of the Lusitania chose not to take these recommendations from the Admiralty and went through the dangerous place. It was May 7th, 1915, that the Lusitania had been hit by its first torpedo, and then a second explosion followed. The hits likely damaged the pipes and engines. Within 20 minutes of being hit, the Lusitania had sunk. 1,198 of the 1,959 people on board had been killed. 128 of those casualties were American citizens. The U-boat that sunk the ship was a U-20 boat. The captain of the submarine was named Walter Schweizer. Walter Schweizer was nicknamed the Baby Killer by the British Admiralty. The sinking of the ship was just another success for him. The Lusitania was his 10th ship sunk in his career as a U-boat captain. While America was quite angered with the Lusitania incident, the German government felt quite differently. One day after the Lusitania had sunk, they made a statement defending their actions against the Lusitania. They accused the Lusitania of carrying war supplies to aid the Allies. This statement that they said was correct. The Lusitania had over 4 million rounds of ammunition. But America still did not agree with their actions. Many Americans were very angered by the incident. It even convinced some people to want to join the war, while other Americans did not want to join.
The sinking of the Lusitania shocked Americans because it seemed like an act of almost wanton murder.
The Lusitania didn't only anger America. It angered many other countries too during the time period. History.com says, quote, "It also showed the world that Germany was willing to do almost anything to win the war, which incited the Allies to fight even harder and signaled to the United States that permanent neutrality was likely futile." Quote, This proves that the Lusitania was a catalyst for the winning of World War I, especially for America to join World War I. America's current president, Woodrow Wilson, did not want to join the war. He did not want to overreact to the sinking of the ship, so the US chose to remain neutral. Here is an excerpt from Wilson's Too Proud to Fight speech.
The example of America must be a special example. The example of America must be the example not merely of peace because it will not fight, but of peace because peace is the healing and elevating influence of the world, and strife is not. There is such a thing as a man being so right, it does not need to convince others by force that it is right.
This is why Wilson chose not to go to war, though there were still problems to address. So, as a closure though to the incident, the US sent a note to the German government accusing them of a crime. But the note was written by a pacifist, William Bryan, so when he wrote it, he was super careful. In response to Bryan's note, the German government rebutted that it was the Lusitania's fault for entering that area where there was submarine warfare. All in all, the government chose not to join the war in 1915 because they did not want to be too impulsive. However, in 1917, the US chose to join the war with the Lusitania incident as a guiding reason to fight. In conclusion, the Lusitania is the biggest reason as to why the US joined the war, eventually causing the Central Powers to call armistice. Today the ship lies on the ocean floor, but over 100 years ago, it had been sunk, killing 128 Americans. We honor their sacrifice. Though it was innocent, they changed the course of history.